And we're joined live by our Houston Texans correspondent, Gabe. Gabe, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm here, Ty.
I'm having reports that in a 12 by 12 superflex PPR league, Nico Collins was acquired for Rashee Rice and a 25 first. Can you confirm that report?
I can confirm that report. It is coming through the screen right now.
Gotcha. And how do you feel about that?
Give me Nico Collins, man.
Let's talk about it.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome on in to another edition of the All Gas Trade Show. I'm Ty at Ty Declare 44. That's Gabe at iGabe_FF. And you're in for a treat tonight. Yes, welcome in, Gabe. It's Friday night. Mike Tyson is gonna punch out Jake Paul, hopefully. How are you feeling? And are you excited for tonight?
Dude, I am excited, man. So here in Texas, we're finally getting some cooler weather. And so life's good, man. We're finally getting to experience some fall/winter, if you will, because it was 80 degrees a couple days ago, and now we dropped into the 60s today.
Well, you know, the end comes for everyone, so I'm happy you're finally experiencing a season. But, you know, we've been around in DD for a couple seasons now, and I think that's the best place to be in the fantasy football space. So, Gabe, why don't you say that you hop over to ddfantasyfootball.com, use code TRADES, get in the all access tier. You get into the Discord, get 50% off at sign up with that code. Better yet, hop into the GOAT tier, use code TRADEGOAT. You get the Trinity Tracker, the War Machine, access to everything, the private pod feed where you get all the bonus shows. So head on in there. Best deal you can have right now to get into DD. And now's a great time. We're heading to the playoffs, Gabe. Trade deadlines are upon us. People are making moves. So if you want a spot, you don't need to make any moves. Head on to Underdog, underdog.com. Use code ALLGAS. You get up to 1,000 in bonus cash. Sign up. Head in there, play around. But Gabe, we play Dynasty Fantasy Football.
We do.
Nico Collins. We love him. Hammer. In a 12 by 12 though, right? Like depth matters at that point. Rashee Rice has maintained his value. Probably still going to look at a suspension next year. All right, probably at least a small one. You get a first. And again, we have a little bit of a context, the lineup league as well, right? Or do we, I guess we don't have any context on that first, Gabe. So let's call it a random first. Do you want Nico Collins or Rashee Rice in a first? You said Nico Collins, so talk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, again, to your point right now, we're getting ready to head into the playoffs. Nico Collins coming back from his injury. This, as a Houston fan, I hate to admit this, but we have been putrid without Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and, you know, everybody else, Will Anderson that we're missing and whatnot. So we're starting to get some of our pieces back. Obviously, we aren't going to get Diggs back this year, but I see a lot of positives moving, if you will, for Nico Collins. And we got to remember, Ty, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, this dude was like the wide receiver 2, like in points per game. Like he was absolutely killing fantasy. Like quite literally, he was destroying everything. And so, I mean, I loved Rashee Rice, but I think even before Rashee Rice's injury, I was willing to give probably a second or so on top of Rashee Rice to get into Nico Collins. Nico Collins is playing. I'm going to pencil him in as being an elite wide receiver because until I see otherwise. And so I'm okay with giving up, again, a mid, maybe even a late first for plus Rashee Rice for Nico Collins. Just give me the points, give me the hammer. I understand that depth is a little bit important in a 12 by 12, but I want the points, man, and I'm ready to go for a championship.
Yeah, I think if that's an early first, we're both on the same page. Like that's a pretty insane amount of value. So you kind of have to probably accept that. But I mean, think about Rashee Rice. He's kind of actually like a directional based asset at this point. He should only be valued by those who aren't trying to win.
Correct.
Whereas, I mean, Nico Collins, I mean, you traded him to me on my biggest rebuilding team, and like I'm happy to house him, right? So even though he is going to be scoring, hopefully, a lot of points down the stretch here, I do think that Nico Collins is probably the more flexible asset even still. So I'm happy to give up a late first, even a mid first, if that means I'm moving into a Nico. You just have to have a plan, right? Is that to plug in, win, or is that to try to flip to a contender at the trade deadline if you're not there yet, or just have a plan, as always. But in a 12 by 12, I don't mind getting into Rice in a first as well, especially if I'm on let's say you took over an orphan, right? And you've been blessed with Nico Collins, need to split, gain some assets. Give me Rice in a first happily.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. I love that. Kicking it off with a little bit of a split right there.
Hey, look at that go. And not to be outdone, we have a 12 by 12 best ball league. Sales get into Zay Flowers and old Zach Wilson fan 5. Pour one out for Zach Wilson fan. Gets into Chris Olave and a 2025 third. So Olave, we still don't have, confident news in what he's going to be for the rest of the year. I'm operating under the assumption that he's not playing for the rest of the year, Gabe.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers, the Baltimore offense is pretty dope. There's just, you don't really know what option is going to lead the way each week, and Deontay probably is going to keep eating into that some way, somehow. So I like Zay Flowers, though. Even in a best ball league, 12 by 12, I'm going to take Zay Flowers here. Get off the 0. You can have that third. But, you're the best ball guy, too. You say, give me the 2-for-1 usually. Is this a 2-for-1 that you're taking?
Man, I am going to stick to my guns here, and I'm riding with Stales on both of his trades. I would, again, I'm taking Nico Collins, and then give me Zay Flowers, man, over Chris Olave. I get it. I really do get it. I think there's a lot of positives, for Chris Olave potentially in the future, right? We don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. I really believe that he might not be the quarterback for the Saints next year. They just fired Dennis Allen, and so could be a lot of positives moving into Chris Olave next year. And maybe we see this, a little bit differently. If I'm not contending, I'm perfectly fine with grabbing Chris Olave shares because I do think his value is really depressed right now. And I really believe that there's only one way that can go and that's pretty much up. Right. And so I'm okay with acquiring Chris Olave, just not at this price. I don't want to give up Zay Flowers for Chris Olave.
Yeah. And I think a big part for Olave for me is he has kind of been like price prohibited for a long time. Like he's always been too much than I've really wanted to pay for him.
Yeah.
And we've seen it with Tua. We've seen it with multiple players in the NFL. They have multiple concussions, but have we really seen, at least in the fantasy space, like a high end asset actually end their career due to concussions? Nothing's really coming to mind for me there. And we saw it with Tua, right? The week it happens, but there's bad news. Oh gosh, any second and you can have Tua, and then look at the rebound as soon as they're back. So especially in this snip snap dynasty market that we're in, like I don't mind getting into Olave in a third. The way I play in best ball, especially if I don't have an IR spot like on Sleeper, I mean, to get the value of Zay Flowers there is a little too much for me.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And again, I think just Olave, I like him a lot. He's probably not going to play the rest of this year. And so what good does that do for me right now? Right. And I know that we play in dynasty leagues, but the reality is that we play in small windows now. It's not so much looking years ahead. And so, I mean, for the foreseeable future right now, I want Zay Flowers over Chris Olave.
Yeah, he wasn't even doing much for your lineups when he was healthy. Let's be honest this year, right?
Well, and I think Zay Flowers was like wide receiver like 9 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we'll probably fire up the Trinity tracker here in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Zay Flowers having a great season, so happy to get into Zay, especially in best ball there. Oh, okay, Gabe, do you play in many 10-team leagues?
I actually have 0 10-team leagues.
Okay, do you have any start 7 leagues?
It's such an odd number.
Yeah.
No, I actually think this is the first time I've ever heard of a start 7.
Yeah, it must be like one quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, a tight end, and a flex, I guess. Yeah, and a 10
kicker
by 7.
I mean, with this league, it's probably a kicker.
Well, gosh, maybe a defense. 10 by 7, 1 quarterback, 0.5 PPR. The 10-0 team trading away a mid-first, a 26 second, and a 25 third, getting that Derrick Henry, and they're just getting back that 26 third as well, Gabe. And just give me the bell cow, just give me the hammer in this shallow format. Just give me Derrick Henry.
Yeah, man, this is dicey, Ty. I've been on the record saying that there's not a lot of running backs that I want to give up a first for. And again, usually that context is specific to superflex because that's all that I really play in is superflex. I get it. I get why you did it. I don't love giving up a first, second, and a third for Derrick Henry, but I'm with it. I could see this trade for both sides. I really believe that. Again, if you're not a contending team and you can get a return like that for Derrick Henry, you're probably pretty happy about that. You're probably pretty happy to get a mid first, because he said it's a mid first. And I mean, in a start 10, it's a top 5 pick, right? According to that. And so, I mean, that's going to be a pretty good pick, man. It's going to be a pretty good rookie pick. And then you get a second and a third on top of it just to kind of make some maneuvers. And yeah, I mean, again, I see this from both sides. Pick a direction and call it a day.
Yeah. Well, there's some assets just like, you know, your Saquon Barkley's, your Derrick Henry's, like,
Yeah.
it comes down to like, what is the cost going to be, right? Like in the right circumstances, I'm going to be willing to pay above market to get into that kind of an asset. Like, I think Ray talked about it on Wake Up this morning on Friday. You know, just especially in a league like, again, yeah, it's a top 5 pick in a 10-team league, a 1-quarterback league. So, you know, it should be a decent asset. But in a 10-by-7, like, this is just hammer hunting season. And Derrick Henry is just one of those cats where I'm just going to keep riding until the wheels fall off, right? Just till the end, it's going to be Derrick Henry.
Could be a lot sooner than you think.
Could be a lot sooner than you think. And as a 10-0 team, I'm thinking about weeks 11 through 17. That's it.
Well,
so
it's actually... I was going to say,
ahead,
man, that's actually a good point that you bring it up, because I know we had talked about it previously. Derrick Henry, what's the playoff schedule look like for Derrick Henry in Baltimore?
Let's bring it up. Let's you know, let me pull up something here. I'll look. But I mean,
I think if I remember correctly, just to kind of buy you a little bit of time, if I remember correctly, one, he's got a week 14 bye, which is not ideal depending on when your playoffs start, and if you have a bye or not, that is not ideal. And then secondly, I want to say he's got a pretty tough playoff schedule if I remember correctly going into it. And again, he's the king. He's one of those guys that's just going to probably continue to do it. But there is some, you know, some things to be cautious about, right? Again, week 14 bye, if you don't have a playoff bye or anything like that, or your playoff start in week 14, and then also a difficult playoff schedule, man. It's definitely a tough one for me.
Yeah, the chart I pulled up doesn't have week 14 on it, obviously. Like, of course, why would it have that, right? But yeah, I think you're right. You know, that week 14 bye, and that's tough, right? And you have to think about that. But they have the New York Giants, like at the New York Giants, at home against Pittsburgh, and then on the road against your Houston Texans game. I mean, again, it's not an ideal schedule by any means. I think it's ranked 21st out of 32 teams, you know, on this chart. So yeah, it's not a cakewalk schedule, right? Your teams like Dallas, New England, Minnesota, Chicago, and the Colts, and hey, Alvin Kamara and the Saints. You know, they're the ones that have some of the better matchups. But I mean, again, I can't hate anyone getting a first plus for a Derrick Henry at this part of his career. But I think I also follow that mantra more in the leagues that I play in, which are more 12 by 10, 12 by 11, 12 by 12, 14 by 11, like those kind of leagues where I feel like those first matter more. This is a 1-quarterback league as well. So I'm less attached to trying to draft the next X player or get into all these picks. Like, I'd rather find those useful week-to-week players and just try to hammer hunt where I can. So I'm just going to take the bet on Henry that, you know, I'm 10-0. I'm either taking Henry away from someone else and they can't have those points, or I'm maximizing those points on my roster. So I'm okay to pay the price, but I can't fault anyone getting that kind of a return.
So you're okay with selling for that price as well, if you were on the flip side of that?
Yeah. Again, if you're a 4-6 team, Gabe, right? Yeah. You had Dak go down and Chris Godwin go down. What are you going to do? Right? Yeah. Like, you're probably not getting a better price unless you can get, you know, like a wide receiver you really want in a first, but I just don't think you're getting that.
Yeah.
You know, so you probably have to buy outright. I don't love kicking back a third with Derrick Henry as well, but that's kind of inconsequential at the end of the day. So
yeah, I agree.
Interesting. Well, let us know in the comments. 10 by 7, like a shallow league. Henry in a third, or a first, a second, and a third. You let us know.
Yep.
You failed me. We got a 12 by 11 tiered PPR, 0.1 point per carry, 2.0 tight end premium, return yards. Gosh, we got all the details here. They made this deal on Monday. They're currently 7-3, fourth in scoring. They have Lamar, Kyler, Monty, Chase Brown, Swift, Warren, Benson, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Flowers, QJ, Watson, Gabe Davis, Hawkinson, Ferguson, and Njoku. They got players. Yeah, Gabe.
They do.
They felt as though they are at tight end. So they're getting into Saquon Barkley. They got that 40-point week in that lineup because they made this deal on Monday. They got a third back as well. They sent away QJ, Quentin Johnston, a 2025 second, and again, that 2025 first. Now, did you see any context on that first in here, Gabe?
I think it was his own, isn't it? Is it his first? I didn't see that. Oh no, it's not.
The computer. It doesn't. Of course, it doesn't show. Right? Of course, it doesn't show. But regardless, let's even call it you failed me's first. Right. So again, Saquon, one of those players. What's it going to cost? A first, a second, QJ. Right. I'll tell you what, Gabe. If you got those 40 points in your lineup this week, you don't care about what you sent away. You do not care. Yeah. Mike Tomlin, we do not care. I mean, you break this down. Like, it's very similar to what we just saw. So, like, do you feel any different in this context in a 12 by 11 superflex league?
No, I mean, I think Saquon is still one of those guys, man, that I'm happy to pay a first plus for. Just, I mean, again, he's just absolutely destroying. Like, he is smashing in this Philadelphia offense, and I'm going to continue to, support that because that's just what I'm seeing week in and week out. And so he's one of those guys that I'm perfectly comfortable with paying a first and a second. If you're telling me QJ's the tax and you're giving me a third, I mean, it's fine. Again, I think this is, I've been really happy with the past couple of shows because a lot of these trades have been directional trades. And so, again, kudos to both parties, right? I think you could go either way with this. If you were a rebuilder and, you don't need those Saquon points, by all means, give me a first, second, and QJ, right? As a hope and pray with QJ. That being said, though, if I'm contending and that's a late first and a late second, I'm perfectly fine with giving that up for Saquon Barkley. And to your point, right now, you feel great about it, especially after that 40-point week. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we broke down a very similar deal, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But the only thing I'll say is for both this deal and the King Henry deal, I think the only way you really maximize that more is you make that deal earlier in the season, right? Like after 4 weeks, Gabe, we should have known that both Barkley and Henry were going to smash the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
We probably should have known. So if you would have pulled the trigger on these deals earlier, it does feel like maybe like that's a way to maximize that, where you're just getting more starts. You're getting more opportunity to points right here, right now. But I bet Barkley and Henry maybe weren't even available because those teams were probably winning early with the crazy start to the year we had, right? So we can't really play in hindsight, but if you can find a way to get these deals done earlier where you're sending like a first running back, great. But for right now, I'm still willing to pay that price.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, I know we talk about war sometimes on here, and really it's just what you can, capitalize on, right? Like what you assume from the war data. I mean, you're not going to have very many weeks with Saquon Barkley left, but you're getting him for the weeks that actually matter now at this point. You know that your team is contending, you're ready to make a push for it, and this is really where you're like, all right, Saquon, take me to the promised land. And he got you off on a great foot already with this past week. So
yes, he did. Yeah. And I mean, on the flip side of that too, right? You waited for more data. He's not hurt at this point. So like you have, you've made your bet maybe more smartly by waiting, but you're also not maybe maximizing it. So just a thought, right? If we're going to make these kind of deals, maybe we make them earlier in the year and really try to maximize it.
Yeah, I love that.
Cool. We got a 2-for here by Rocket. 2 trades right before the trade deadline. Let's go. 10 by 10 PPR tight end premium. We've got a Nico package in the first trade. We got a Bucky package in the second, Gabe. Okay, so they're tanking. We'll come back to the context. Okay, Gabe, you remind me to come back to the context here, okay?
All right.
But it's a 10 by 10 PPR tight end premium.
10
for our boy
by 10
Rocket.
PPR league. All right.
Our boy Rocket's getting into Nico Collins, Kyron Williams, and Cooper Kupp. They're giving up Deebo Samuel, DeAndre Swift, Pop Douglas, JJ McCarthy, a 2026 first, and a 2025 second. Okay, Gabe. Let's play the cross-off game. Okay?
All right, I'm ready for this. Do you want me to go first?
No, I got you. DeAndre Swift in a second or Kyron Williams?
That's actually, funny enough, that's exactly where I was going to start too. I mean, I still want Kyron, but I think it's close enough.
Throw Pop Douglas in there, or is it close enough? Just the two.
No, I think it's close enough, man. I think it's close enough. Okay. Again, with the hammer start 10, you want the hammers. DeAndre Swift's been really good though this year, so I'm good to just cross off DeAndre Swift in a second for Kyron.
Sure. Okay. Directional deal. You got one team going one way, one team going the other. JJ McCarthy just had a second knee surgery due to swelling. Do you want JJ McCarthy or Cooper Kupp?
Well, I was going to mention as a directional trade, it's really interesting too, because it's not like you're getting into the youngest assets over here either on the other side with Deebo Samuel, DeAndre Swift, but neither here nor there. JJ McCarthy, Cooper Kupp, to answer your question. I mean,
10 by 10.
Yeah, I think I want Cooper
PPR.
Kupp. I mean, again, JJ McCarthy, a 10 by 10 super flex. You've got 20 quarterbacks. There's still a surplus of quarterbacks that are still there, on benches. And so you can find QB starts if you really need it. Right now, I'm not seeing anything from JJ McCarthy, so just give me Cooper Kupp. He's been on a tear.
Yeah. 10 by 10, I can figure out quarterback. And I like the idea of having a JJ as a happy, layaway type asset. I just, and I do think that if we project down the road, there's probably going to be a bit of a squeeze at quarterback here in the offseason and going into 2025. I feel like there's going to be something interesting with the market there. So I don't mind having guys like JJ on layaway. But yeah, 10 by 10, especially if I'm trying to score points right now, just give me Kupp.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with Deebo Samuel, Pop Douglas, and a 2026 first, Gabe, for Nico Collins. I like Deebo. I like Pop, our boy Ben Mason's guy, Pop Douglas.
Shout out to Ben. Best ball darling.
Love first, but it's Nico Collins.
I mean, hey, again, for me, I chose Nico Collins on the Rasheed Rice deal, so I'm definitely taking Nico Collins again over Deebo Samuel on a first, and whatever Pop Douglas can be in the 10 by 10, who you'll probably never start if we're being completely honest.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I want Nico Collins pretty easily on that.
Yeah. So totality, 10 by 10. Give me Kupp, Nico, and Kyron. I feel like you get, at least two of the best assets in the deal, and Nico and Kyron.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Just interestingly enough, just thinking out loud here. You want Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel?
Oh.
And I know we already played the cross-off game. This is just more so for...
Yeah. They're both probably similar tier wide receivers. They both are probably in the falling knife stage of their careers, right? Where they're probably not going up anymore. So it's
knives, brother. I'm catching.
I just got to keep catching knives. I would bet Cooper Kupp over Deebo rest of season, because even with IU going out and CMC coming back, Deebo's had a couple of disappointing weeks, right? I'm not mistaken in that.
No, yeah. So with that lot, you could even argue that the one side gets the best three assets. The other one's just getting more depth pieces.
I'd take a 26 first over Kupp. I would. Even in a 10 by 10, I think I'd take a 26 first over Kupp just because of what you're getting into there. I think I would still lean the first, but your point is very valid.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I can't argue with you there. I can't argue when you take a first for a 31-year-old wide receiver. I can't fault you for that.
I get it. I get it, but I don't think I can do that. So yeah. We got a second deal, the Bucky package. Okay. Cortland Sutton, a 26 first, and we're just sending away 26 first like it's our job, and a 25 third into Jordan Addison and Bucky Irving. Jordan Addison, the man that we've slandered on this show, Gabe. We've called him disappointing, all that. He had a good week. He's looked fine. He's getting used, so I'm fine with Addison. Sure. Bucky Irving, hopefully someone emerges as the running back one, or the 60%er in that backfield. But Cortland Sutton, 26 first, a third, or Jordan Addison and Bucky Irving, Gabe. The 10 by 10.
10 by 10, Ty. I hope you're not starting Jordan Addison. And I'm going to double down on that because, I mean, it's shallow enough, especially being a 10 team, that he's just not a guy that I'm wanting to actively start. I would start Cortland Sutton pretty easily over Jordan Addison, especially the way that he's been playing. And
Agreed.
I definitely want a 26 first over Bucky Irving. So this is not
Agreed.
close. This is not close for me.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Now let's take this in context of the team now, Gabe. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were tanking, but a win streak has them an outside playoff shot. Needed running back help. Decided to make moves that improve my outside playoff chances while also building long term. The other team's 26 first from an earlier trade, and he's tanking. Needed quarterback depth. Thought I'd try to dangle him as first back. Okay, so he sent his first back in that deal with JJ. That's interesting. Again, interesting too that he's getting to Debo, but neither here nor there. Getting Nico, Kyron, love that both. It worked. Cup kind of thrown in to take an older asset off of him, then offset that with otherwise I got younger. Trade didn't fully address my running back issue. Okay, cool. Love it. Check. Second trade, made addressing running back issues in mind on a guy I've taken to a liking to in Bucky. True, me too. While also specking / buying low on Addison. Previous trade also made Sutton expendable. Figure the trade partner contended. It's okay. So you bring on Cooper Kupp, Nico Collins. You know that you're not really even going to start Cortland Sutton. So I might as well get rid of Sutton and just take a speculative ad on Addison. Can you get behind that thinking?
I mean, I understand why you would do that. Again, I'm not wanting to pay a first up for Bucky Irving.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it doesn't really matter how we slice and dice it. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'd rather try to see if I can take that package and get a Derrick Henry type or something. If you really need running back, right? Again, we talked about it, and I mean, if we're comfortable or people are comfortable paying a first, second, and a third for Derrick Henry, then I don't see why you wouldn't be able to get a first, Cortland Sutton, and a third for Derrick Henry. Like, I'd much rather have that than Bucky Irving and Jordan Addison, especially in the start 10.
If you're going to spend a first on a running back, you might as well aim high. All right.
Correct.
And Bucky is probably more of a speculative ad than a first plus kind of asset. Right. So, yeah, I agree. We got a little cattywampus with the Bucky Irving there, but I get why you did it. But, yeah, I'm going to lean the first in that situation.
Yeah. Same here.
All in all, I think you smashed the first deal, so you win.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think the value in the second deal that it made up for it in the first deal, like I mean, easily. If you had to put both of those trades together, I probably still would have leaned your side just because of Nico Collins. Again, I am a little biased, but in all, I still think you came out really well in that league.
Yeah. Next time you walk yourself into a Kyron, a Nico, and a Cup, just put the phone down. All right, go celebrate. Have a pepperoni stick. You're going to be all right. You don't need another trade, but all good. Matty boy, another 10-team league here, Gabe. We got to get some 12ers in here eventually, but 10-team. Start 9, Superflex, PPR, trade deadline deal. Ramondre Stevenson or Rico Dowdle, running back 1 in Dallas, Rico Dowdle, and QJ, Quentin Johnston. Gabe, do you have a preference?
I mean, RB1 in Dallas over here behind I don't even know, what are they, 3-5, 3-6 team.
Number 1 playoff schedule for fantasy matchups here, Gabe. What are you talking about? Let's go.
I think I'm not sure how to feel about QJ specifically. Like I'm kind of in, kind of not in. I'm kind of like teetering on that line. I mean, I think just seeing this deal, just give me Ramondre. I'll figure it. I can replace QJ. I can replace Rico Dowdle. So just give me Ramondre. I'll figure it out.
I think QJ is an interesting piece, right? Because he is being used, and like if you look back, 11 weeks ago, you could find him in the recycling bin. Like no one wanted QJ. Wouldn't send a fourth for QJ, right? Like it was bad. Yeah. And currently, even with positive news for Rico Dowdle, I still feel like I can't move him for anything in any of the spots that I have him at least. So at least with Ramondre, you probably can get credit for, that running to back 2+ kind of value like this. Yeah. So, I mean, from a pure, like, quote unquote, dynasty value or what like keep, trade, cut or whatever calculator you want to use says value wise, I bet the Dowdle and QJ side would win in that sense. But I'm with you here. 10 teams, start 9. Just give me Ramondre. I'll start him every week. I'll roll with the highs and lows, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, again, start 9, 10 team, man. Like, it just, when are you ever going to play those guys outside
Never.
of a plethora of injuries? Like, you're never going to play them.
Plethora. We're getting
A plethora. Yeah. Plethora, plethora.
You got it. You got
Either
it.
way.
Yeah.
Either way. Either way. You understood what I was trying to say.
Oh, dude, I had you, baby. I had you.
Plethora.
I needed to get ahead of the comments. That's all. I had to get ahead of them. But
Well, I checked myself, so technically the comments can't say anything about it. I checked myself.
no, you can't. But yeah, I mean, Rico Dowdle, sure, like maybe a spot start running back, but you don't feel good about it. So yeah, just you're never going to feel confident firing up QJ in a 10x9. Just not. So good work, Matty boy. Oh Lord. Okay. 12 team, start 10, superflex. We made it. 0.5 tight end premium went from a retool to a contender in week 5. 5 trades in 3 days. Goodness gracious. Gabe, you know what 5 trades means? We need a lightning round here, buddy. So,
All right, let's do it.
You ready?
First time on the show. We're getting a lightning round song.
Yeah. Lightning round song. Okay. So again, 12 team, start 10, superflex. Let's hit it.
All right.
Let it ring. Let it bang. Wait for the drums. We'll start at the drums. All right, here we go. 12 team, start 10. We got Cooper Kupp and Rashad White being acquired for a 26 first and a 25 second. Gabe, who you want?
Ooh, this is close. I kind of want Cooper Kupp and Rashad White.
Cooper Kupp, Rashad White for me, not particular. Like, I'll just give me the players there. Okay. Right. Dalton Schultz or 2/4.
It's Schultz. It's Schultz.
Yeah, if those picks convert to auction money, give me the picks. If not, give me Schultz. Estime, RB1 Estime or a 26 third, Gabe.
I don't love it, but I guess I'll take the shot on Estime and see what he becomes.
What are you talking about? Estime smash. Estime smash. That usage, I can sell that. Give me Estime. Gabe, a 2025 fourth or Cooper Rush?
Oh, dude. Give me give me Cooper Rush, realistically, but good God,
it's not great. Give me the starts, please.
Give me the quarterback. Just give me the quarterback that's playing.
Yes. Oh, Gabe, are you sending away Chris Olave, JT Sanders, Rome Odunze, and a 2025 first to get into Drake London, Kyron Williams, and a 2025 third?
Yeah, I actually responded to Scardy on the Heisman Trades channel on this one, and yeah, give me Drake London and Kyron Williams. Boom, and we got it just in time. Just in time.
Well, yeah, we'll pat ourselves on the back there. That was a great dismount. Wow. Yeah, I mean, good work here, Scardy. That was some good deals. Love this last one too, getting the Drake London, Kyron Williams in a third. Yeah, just we have these picks, especially these fourth, these thirds. Just use them. Just use them. Sure, if I don't need Cooper Rush, give me anything for him, but he's a starting quarterback, so I can use that. Cool. Well, that was fun.
Hey, he went 4 for 1. I love that. 4 for 1. Scardy, good job, man. Good job.
Good work. That's a passing grade. Andre, got a 12 team, start 10, PPR, rebuilding. We got 4 firsts in the back pocket and 4 seconds, and they get the package. Now you can tell Andre was trying to take a screenshot here. We got the volume button telling lies. He got into Dak Prescott, Jonathan Brooks, Keon Coleman in a 2025 second. Had to send away that Jaden Daniels, though. Gabe, people are scaredy pants on Jaden Daniels after this, 3 weeks post-rib injury. Just not a fantasy vibrant game last week. But are you splitting your Daniels into 4 pieces here in Prescott, Brooks, Coleman in a second? You have 4 firsts already. You got 4 seconds already. What are you doing here?
Fickle. Community. Fickle. It was what, QB1, right?
QB1 on Keep Trade Cut. To Cody Smith's chagrin, QB1, Jaden Daniels.
Man. Fickle. Absolutely fickle. Yep. If I can split Daniels, it's definitely something that I'd look to do. I feel like you kind of missed your window of opportunity a little bit to sell him because right now you're not selling low, but you're selling lower than what his value was a couple weeks back. Dak, Jonathan Brooks, Keon Coleman in a second. I don't love it, Ty. I kind of feel like I still want to keep Jaden Daniels, man.
What the dog doing?
I mean, like if I'm splitting Jaden Daniels, right? Like prerequisite, I need at least a first. Like at least a first, or like a player that I can squint and see a first. Like Dak Prescott, he's injured, he's not playing. Jonathan Brooks, I'm over it already. Keon Coleman, sure, but he's just not actively playing right now. I don't really want to do a 4-for-1, and even if I'm at I took over an orphan, I need to split assets and get things. I just don't know if Dak, Brooks, Coleman in a second is what I'm doing with my Daniels. Like it just feels like I'm getting 4 quarters for my crisp dollar bill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to a spot that you need to be able to slide the dollar bill into the slot at the vending machine. It has no coin slots. And I'm just removing myself from that conversation. I don't know. I just want Jaden Daniels.
Well, and we've talked about it before, man. I think to your point about just the flexibility aspect of it, not a lot of people want Dak. Not a lot of people want Jonathan Brooks right now, despite how we feel about him and despite what we think he could be, whatever that looks like. But the reality is that nobody wants either of those guys right now. Whereas I know right now you put Jaden Daniels up on the block, you're going to get offers for him. Everybody wants Jaden Daniels, despite how bad he's played with his injury and whatnot. Like, despite how bad he's been the past couple of weeks, like people want Jaden Daniels. And so I just feel like if I'm down tiering from Jaden Daniels, Ty, I just want a better, more secure asset. Like I like Dak when I'm competing and when he's scoring points. I want Dak, but the reality is that he's injured right now. And if I'm going to tier off a quote unquote elite asset, elite quarterback, give me a quarterback that's maybe a couple steps back, not 15 spots back. Like there's a lot of space between Jaden Daniels and Dak. And I just don't think Jonathan Brooks, Keon Coleman in a second gets that done for me.
No. I think this is where we get off on, pause. Hold on. Not like that. Not like that, please. This is where we get weird with needing to get a quarterback back when I'm sending away a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because technically JKS1624 checked your box by giving you Dak Prescott. But all that's kind of serving as a placeholder. And what does Dak mean to your team? Because like you said, you were saying like his values, like no one really wants Dak right now. He's a directional piece. Again, he's only going to be probably wanted by teams that are like on a rebuilding context, which just give me to 2025. I expect him to be healthy. He'll be a starting quarterback. Cool. I don't mind that at all. But I don't want to assign too much value to that if I'm trading away Jaden freaking Daniels.
Yeah.
I'd be much further to try and explore getting an elite tier wide receiver and a first for a quarterback of that round versus giving up value by saying, well, I am taking a quarterback from you, so I have to pay the quarterback price on that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I definitely get that. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too. Again, it's just not what I'd love to do right now. You probably could have down tiered to like Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray in that range, and you probably still could have gotten some nice pieces back too. Not the move I'm trying to make right now. Even if you have 4 firsts, like I get it, but at the end of the day, Jaden Daniels is a cornerstone piece, if you will, and so you can build around him, and you don't. And we've talked about it before, where you don't have to feel like you're using those picks for a quarterback now, right? Where you lose a little bit of the flexibility that you had with those picks, because you could have taken the best player available because you had a little bit more stability, a little bit more security at the quarterback position, whereas you lose that now. And so you're almost, Dak's going to be good next year. I want to make sure I preface that, but at the end of the day, like, he is still a little bit older. People are getting weary about Dak and what that situation looks like. And so I think you just, no matter which way you look at it, no matter which lens you look through, it doesn't seem like a winning decision.
Yeah. And you've told me this as well, right? Is making that move, like, I think it more hamstrings you and creates another problem versus actually making you more flexible. And I feel like that's kind of maybe what you did here. And again, it's not about Dak or Brooks or Coleman or a second. It's about what you're doing with the Jaden Daniels type asset. And it's not, I just don't really want to split that up into 4 and not even get like a first back in that 4. So they can't all be winners, Andre. You're rebuilding as well. So there's certain guys that I'm definitely okay holding onto. And I mean, Jaden Daniels would have been one, but maybe there was a better window to sell Daniels versus this week.
Yeah.
Cool. Captain Clutch, all price, a 12-team, start 10, Superflex PPR. We're in third in standings and in 0.4, and the team they're trading with is in 12th and rebuilding. So we got ourselves a directional trade, Gabe. Captain Crunch, get into Goddard and Darnell Mooney, sending away Mac Jones, a 25 second and a 25 fourth. I don't see any context on the rest, like if anything else, but again, that should be a late second, should be a late fourth. Yeah, I mean, give me Darnell Mooney and Dallas Goedert here, but I want to hear what you want us to say.
Directional trade. I mean, are we going to the dispersal? Is that what we're trying to do? That's the direction we're headed.
We're going to the
this
EI
doesn't
line.
make any sense. I mean, none.
No.
Are they expecting Mac Jones to kick Trevor out of a job? I mean.
He's the starting quarterback the rest of the year, so I need that on my rebuilding roster, Gabe. Correct. I need that.
Correct. And that's where, I guess for me, like, I don't know, man. I don't even know how to break this down for you. I usually am pretty good about trying to see both sides and try to give a little bit of context for maybe the other side. But I can't defend you on this one, man. Yeah, Pittsburgh feelers, I don't know, man.
A+ name, F- trade.
Correct. There you go. I love that. A+ trade, F- trade, buddy. I can't defend you on this one.
Yeah, I mean, for price, you had Kupp, Evans, Reed, Myers, Olave, Shakir. Happy to take on a Darnell Mooney there. You have Kelsey, Juwan Johnson. You don't need Goddard, but you're basically given a free Goddard here, so I'll take it. So yeah, I mean, this is a what the hell? Yeah, there's a little. It's not great, but yeah, I mean, Darnell Mooney, once again, the most underrated asset in Dynasty, a la T. Sanford. I agree. Oh, boy. Okay. We got a defense trade. This is a first on the show. We got a defense in a 12-team, one quarterback, one PPR rebuilder. They took over an orphan, so not sure why they even have defenses, but they made this deal tonight on the 13th. So that's Wednesday. So they got into Trevor Lawrence, Dontavian Wicks, and 3 2025 seconds and 1 2026 seconds. So 4 seconds, T-Law and Wicks for Brock Purdy and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense game in a 12-team, one quarterback. Don't know how many starters.
Oh, man. First off, charge your phone, please. Charge your phone.
Yeah, come on. What are we doing?
Come on, man. Come on. Secondly, Ty, I don't even know how to value a defense, brother. I'll be completely honest with you. But a one quarterback rebuilding team, I expect Trevor Lawrence to be really good next year, or be good next year. Hopefully he gets a new head coach, or hopefully they figure something out in Jacksonville. Who knows? I guess give me Trevor Lawrence, Dontavian Wicks, and all the seconds, and I'll figure it out.
I'll tell you how to value the defense. You don't. There's 12 teams. I don't see anything that says you have to start 3 defenses every week. So there's no scarcity at the position. I'll plug whatever defense I need to in week by week. It's a one quarterback league. So I like Purdy over T-Law, but
yeah, I do too.
Just give me the 4 seconds and I'll buy my spot starts and figure things out week to week.
Yeah, I agree.
So flushing Falcons, you flush that one. Flush that Pittsburgh Steelers defense off the team. Get her going. Pistol Pete, what have you done? A 12-team, start 10, Superflex Devy lineup PPR. Okay, so we got a Devy player written in here, old Tet McMillan, who should be a top pick in this year's draft. But we also have AJ Brown on the other side of that deal, Gabe. I can hear Cody Smith screaming through his phone already. I can, you know my stance on AJ Brown, so I'm going to pass this over to you. The closest thing to unbiased we have here, Gabe. AJ Brown or Tet McMillan?
I don't know if either one of us are biased to AJ Brown, to be fair. I think we both have a lot of shares.
Valuation. Yeah.
I think if you and I are in leagues together, there's a good chance that one of us has AJ Brown. So that's all I'm going to say. So I definitely think there's still a little bias on this side. I agree with you. I hear Cody screaming in these earphones right now already. I mean, we've talked about it again in the Heisman chat. If you're not in there, definitely jump in there. But, to your point, Marvin Harrison Jr., man, was just one of the cream of the crop elite wide receivers, and he still is, right? I mean, for good reason. But the reality is that he's going to be a rookie. We don't know anything about where he's going. We don't know anything about the situation, and AJ Brown's just doing the thing right now, man. If we didn't learn anything from Marvin Harrison Jr. and other, elite receivers that have come into the league, like, just remember, we had him valued as a top 3 wide receiver in Dynasty. He hasn't performed up to the expectations. I mean, I don't know how you can really live up to those expectations when you're already being valued that high. And, AJ Brown is he's very good, man. Very, very good. And he's doing it right now in the NFL, not in college.
Yeah. And this has nothing to do with Tet McMillan, the player. Yeah. This is about, really, you're almost taking away your flexibility because it's gone from a pick to a player. Like, it is a player, right? It's a tangible player. It's not fungible anymore. Right. Tet McMillan not going to be scoring you fantasy points for another, 9 months. I don't know how long, but it's going to be a hot minute. Like you said, we know nothing about what the situation is going to be. And Gabe, let's flash back to this offseason or even before. How do you feel about those CD Lamb for Marvin Harrison Jr. deals? How do you feel about those AJ Brown for Marvin Harrison Jr. deals?
Justin Jefferson, all those deals, man. There were definitely meals.
I didn't want to invoke the name of JJ, but yes, I saw that too. I'm always going to take the current elite asset, and it's not even like you're just getting to a wide receiver. You're getting to one of those 20 plus point per week range kind of wide receivers, like the truly elite smashing guys. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon for AJ Brown. So give me AJ Brown.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty easily again for me too. I like Tet. I like what he could become, but the reality is I have one that's producing at. You basically hope Tet can produce the way that AJ Brown is. And so why would you risk that when you are getting the actual asset that is doing that right now?
Yeah, exactly. Well, good job, Pistol Pete. Love to see it. 14 team start 11, Gabe. Chris Godwin or Christian Watson?
I mean, just give me Christian Watson.
Yeah. Directional deal. If you're the rebuilding side, do you want a certain side of that?
No, I mean, I'm good either way. Again, I think if I'm rebuilding, I could take Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin's the better player. But again, right now, one's playing, one's not playing. And so I'll take Christian Watson. And a lot of people like Christian Watson. So I think if he can figure it out a little bit in Green Bay, I know there's a lot of mouths to feed right now, but if he can figure it out, I think people would be bought back into him.
Yeah. 14 team start 11, every starter matters. So I don't mind getting to the starting asset. I just feel like Chris Godwin's one of those guys who has sustained some of that trade value, even with the injury, because people just expect him to come back and do what he did. So I don't mind getting to Chris Godwin either, but yeah, just whatever side I'm going. If I'm trying to compete, give me Watson. If I'm trying to do anything else, give me Godwin. Mm-hmm. Oh boy. 12 team, one quarterback, PPR. First should be mid. Pop Douglas and a mid 26 first. How can we tell if a 26 first is going to be mid? Anyways, or Tyreek Hill, Gabe. Tyreek Hill or a 26 first and Pop Douglas.
What he forgot to say is that he actually can see the future.
True.
He forgot to mention that in his summary here. But it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, I'll answer that. It's Tyreek Hill, regardless of what you think that first is right now. I know he hasn't been good. Or hasn't, been great, if you will, from what we expected, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. He's going to have a incredible week one of these weeks, and everybody is going to be right back in. Yep, right back in. And so I don't want Pop Douglas. I don't know what. I mean, again, you hope to never start him. And a 26 first, I can figure that out. I can replace that later on. You can get a 26 first for Tyreek Hill next year.
Yeah. If this is a 12 team, one quarterback, start 16 league, maybe I start to want to give value to the first, but not in this circumstance. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Reed, DJ Moore, Tank Dell, and Jacoby Myers. I still want Tyreek Hill on that team pretty confidently.
I mean, quite literally, none of those guys have performed well.
Again, thought they were a contender,
Yeah.
not working out. So wanting to, take a bet on a first, get some points off. Like, I don't mind that. Just not, I don't. And yeah, you're getting a first for an older asset. So you kind of checked that box.
Yeah.
It's not the deal I'd be looking for. I mean, Gabe, what could you maybe structure this a different way, or could we use some other, like, when you see a Tyreek Hill on a team like this, like, what are you trying to do with Tyreek Hill?
I'm trying to down tier, man, or trade for an equivalent wide receiver, just younger. Like, could you get into a hurt receiver right now, right? Like, could you get into Brandon Ayuk plus for Tyreek Hill? Could you get into, Chris Godwin plus, or could you get into Chris Olave plus? Like, that's the type of deal that I'm going to be looking to make with Tyreek Hill. I don't want, especially if I'm rebuilding, if you will, or, I've kind of thrown in the towel for the year. I'd love to get into picks, right? But I want more than just a single first, unless it's going to be a mid to earlier first. At least that's kind of how I see it. And so ideally I'd love to down tier from Tyreek Hill, or just trade equivalent for a injured receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you probably could have gotten like Godwin and a 26 first. Again, you're trading to a team that's traded all of their picks to contend this year. I'm just going to assume they're going to contend again next year, and that's not going to be 101. So if they had any injured wide receiver, I probably would have liked that more than a pop, because I'm going to assume this is like a 12 by 9, 12 by 10 kind of league. So I just don't see a world where I'm feeling confident and really needing that Pop Douglas on my rebuilding roster. So yeah, I agree. I'd struck that a different way. Maybe you can move that Tyreek Hill, get into a quarterback if that's, I guess, a one quarterback. So maybe you're not doing that. I agree. I'm down tiering. I'm trying to go up. I'm not looking to do this deal with a 2026 first. That's a 2025 first, Gabe. Again, they didn't have any, but if it's a 25 first, are you feeling any different?
Nah, not really. I mean, again, it's not so much it's
the
other one piece. Quarterback. It's the one quarterback. It's Tyreek Hill. I just feel like you can do more. He has one good game. You can do more with that, even with the trade deadline approaching. Like, I would not have been surprised, Ty, if like you probably, again, now he's coming back, but Nico Collins, like, could you have added to Tyreek Hill to get into Nico Collins or something? Yeah. I'd rather up tier or even down tier, but just get me into a younger asset, a younger receiver, a younger proven player for Tyreek Hill, because he's just one of those guys, man, that he is a hammer. And I want to get something of value, something a little bit more secure than a 26 first. Yeah.
One of those guys I'm happy to hold out until the price is right for me. I'm not trying to sell low. Oh boy.
This is interesting. All right.
10 team start 10 superflex, 0.5 PPR, 0.25 tight end premium. So like a 0.75 tight end premium on 4-point passing touchdown. Firsts are not easy to move straight up. Been trying for months. So put 2 mid firsts and a late pick into a better investment in a 10 by 10 superflex. We got Josh Allen for 2 mid and a late first and a 26 second, Gabe. 3 firsts and a second for Josh Allen in a 10 by 10. Just walk me through quickly the 10 team aspect of this and talk to me about Josh Allen for 3 firsts and a second.
I mean, 10 by 10, Josh Allen is going to be one of the difference making quarterbacks. That's going to be the first thing to kind of note. Again, it's quarterbacks in a 10 by 10 are not going to be super scarce. They're pretty easy to come by. That just means you want the elite ones a little bit more because they just make that much of a difference, or they just make that much more of a difference, if you will. That being said, though, man, we hardly ever see 3 picks like this move 4 players anymore. Now, I know that used to be a thing a couple years back, but now people are a little bit more stingy with moving their picks. Yeah. So this is definitely interesting. But again, it's still Josh Allen. It's still Josh Allen, but I'm actually surprised to see a trade like this where they're moving so many liquid assets, liquid picks, if you will, for Josh Allen.
Yeah, this is one I have to probably see the team context really to feel one way. Am I going to truly buy outright Josh Allen just with picks? So they have Josh Allen now. They had Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson. So looks like they have that. They're looking to cash out on Herbert next. I mean, Herbert feels more like a quote unquote buy low than a sell high right now. But so, yeah, if you can offset that cost by then sending away Herbert, I like that. Get a little bit back and you just have the Josh Allen, Jayden Daniels. You're going to win some games in a 10-by-10 with those two. But I mean, I probably, given that context, I probably would have just held on to the first and just rolled with Daniels, Herbert, and Russ.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, we just don't see these kind of deals anymore. And I'm going to bet that no one else in your league could have offered a package like that for Josh Allen. That's probably why you have Josh Allen now and no one else does.
Yeah.
But again, we just don't really see that. 2 mids, a late, and it's probably the price, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of answered it a little too prematurely when I said Josh Allen, not knowing the context a little bit more. I guess this is what I would have loved to have done, right? I would have loved to have kept my first for now, sold Justin Herbert if that's your plan before I buy into it. I mean, if you're looking to buy a car, Ty, you don't normally buy the car first before you sell your old car.
Right.
It just seems a little counterintuitive. You normally sell your car first, then go to the dealership and buy the car with the money that you just got, right? And so ideally, that's what I would have loved to have done is sold Herbert. You still had Russ, man, for the week if you needed to play somebody. He's good enough. The reality is he's good enough, and so could have started Jayden Daniels for Russ one week, and then Jayden Daniels and Russ one week, and then you could have figured out Josh Allen later on. But I really would have wanted to have preferred to have sold Justin Herbert before getting into Josh Allen. But I can't fault you either way, man. I can't fault you for getting into Josh Allen. But I think I would like to hold on to the picks just a little bit.
You probably want to secure the job before you sell your condo and move there,
And that's the truth. Yep.
So if you would have posted 2 photos, one with a Herbert deal and one with an Allen deal, and have like the subsequent deal, love that. We've done this in a couple leagues, Gabe. We're working the phones like, hey, either in HBB1 Heisman Best Ball Battle 1. My partner and I, T. Sanford, we didn't even have an asset yet, and we were already trying to sell him to another team before we made the deal. So we knew we were trying to think ahead. And I think in a deal like this, if that's your goal, is to swap one in for the out and move up, have that second deal lined up, or know that you can truly get that done. Because I'd be just fine rolling Daniels, Herbert, and Russ in a 10-by-10.
Yeah, I mean, again, and then you keep the liquidity, right? So yeah
exactly.
Because
gosh, you could climb all the way up the wide receiver ladder with that like you can get Kyron and Nico probably for that package pretty yeah. So yeah, I want the package. Hopefully you're so right with Josh Allen that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Okay, got a couple more here, Gabe. T. Sanford, speak of the devil, 14 team, start 12 best ball league, getting out of A-Rich, so sends away A-Rich in a third, gets into J.J. McCarthy. I know T has another deal here for JJ as well, so let's start here. Anthony Richardson, starting football, again, allegedly. I saw a headline today said, what was it? A-Rich, they hoped that the benching was getting his attention, that he has to be serious about football. I don't want to hear that. I'll probably attach a third to that, get out, and just get me to JJ McCarthy, especially I'm not trying to score points in a best ball league. But Gabe, I'm going to leave that contact out because I'm assuming that's what you're going to say. If you're a contending team, you need that quarterback starter. You send away JJ McCarthy for Anthony Richardson and a 25 third.
Do I have any other options? If I don't, I mean, it's fine. I don't love it, but man, we do some crazy things for points. So I'd be okay to get rid of my JJ McCarthy if I absolutely need points for Anthony Richards for the week. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with it. I don't love it, but best ball, you got to kind of choose your zeros. And if I really need points, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind carrying like a JJ McCarthy zero, in the right context. But yeah, I like that. And then in a 12-by-11 best ball, 30-man rosters, both firsts are playoff. This is before the JJ McCarthy knee injury news. So T sent away 2 playoff firsts, JJ McCarthy and Trey Tucker. This is how you do it. Get into Josh Allen and Jacoby Myers. So again, that other deal, we had 3 firsts and a second being sent away. Here we got JJ McCarthy, 2 firsts, and Trey Tucker. Getting to Josh Allen, also getting Jacoby Myers in a 12-by-11 best ball league, Gabe. And this is where I am smashing the Josh Allen side of this.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't close.
This is something else. Yeah, that's why you're my partner, buddy. I like this. I'm sorry, Gabe. I know that we're pretty close, but I like the way T operates too.
I mean, hey, when you play in these kind of leagues, I mean, would you expect anything differently?
No, I really wouldn't. And again, just kind of like comparing this deal and this deal, there's something different about sending away a JJ McCarthy versus sending away a first. Like, yes, JJ has that upside, but he is a singular player tied to a knee injury, is a knee injury, a meniscus, whatever that was. Yeah. Yep. A first is a first. It could be a boat. It could be a JJ McCarthy. Right. So it's a little different there. I see Myers as a nice upgrade to Trey Tucker in a best ball league. And again, if you were willing to pay that price in a 10-by-10 lineup league, you should definitely be willing to pay that in a 12-by-11 best ball league for a Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. We'll end it with this one, Gabe. I think. Maybe. Let me just take a quick peek. Oh, God. More JJ McCarthy. Our boys. Okay. We'll probably end here. We'll see how I feel. You don't know if Anthony Richardson or Flacco are starting the rest of the year. Hell, get them both, Gabe. And you get a 25 third and a 12-team superflex, full point per PPR, a start 10, 1.5 tight end premium. You're getting into Brian Robinson and a 25 first, which looks like it'll be 109 to 112 for sure. So B-Rob in a playoff first, or Flacco, A-Rich, and a third. Gabe, I'm going to tell you right now, give me B-Rob in the first, but you tell me why.
What if I didn't agree with that? You just want me to still explain?
Yeah, I want you to lie to the people and just please support your boy. Thank you.
No, I mean, again, this is a good cash out price, right? I mean, we're I don't want to say we as in speaking for everybody, but I personally am very weary of the Indianapolis Colts situation to what you just mentioned a second ago. Some of the comments by the coach, the coaching staff haven't been very positive. It almost seems like they're working with a toddler that they're putting in timeout and hoping that is going to fix the issue. And I can tell you, having a toddler, that does not always work. And so it's just one of those things, man, where if you can get out for a first, that's probably the right move. I mean, it's definitely the right move. And, if you're going to sit there and give me Brian Robinson for Joe Flacco in a third, please, by all means, take this headache away from me. And just give me the liquidity, and I'll figure it out. Again, I'm very, very, very weary on this Indianapolis Colts situation, and I don't think I want any part of it. Ty, there's a world, man, where both of these guys next year none of them are starting quarterbacks. There is a really good possibility where Anthony Richardson is a backup and Joe Flacco is a backup as well. So if you can get out right now for a first, it's probably the right move.
Would you be surprised if the Indianapolis Colts either signed someone in the offseason or drafted a quarterback this year?
No, man. I mean, could they get like a Sam Darnold or something? And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them. And again, a lot of the news, the head coaching comments have not been very positive for either quarterback. And so it sounds like they're just trying to make it through the season. Like they're just trying to patch it together just long enough to get out of this season, and then they'll figure it out in the off season. And so just none of these guys I really, really want.
Yeah. I mean, you saw me in one league. I sent away my final A-Rich share for a 2027 first. I was done. I was like, hey, the opportunity is here to move my A-Rich again. I am not thinking twice. I'm going to have the discipline. Going to send him away. A-Rich is in that any first territory for me. And then Flacco in a third for Brian Robinson. Again, I think he got hurt in the game on Thursday, but he looked fine when he was playing. So I'll happily take B-Rob there. I like getting starting quarterbacks. I like first and smashing running backs more.
That's a good point, though. I'll jump in here really quick, man. Just Anthony Richardson, again, to your point, having the dynasty discipline is very, very difficult sometimes to have because, and we've all suffered from it, right? Justin Fields, we were bought in, He got benched, came back, and we're like, this is his time to shine. You held on a little longer, thinking he was going to be the starter over Russ, and guess what? He's not now. Can't get anything for him. And this feels very Justin Fields-esque, if you will. And so it's kind of get out while you can if we learned anything. And if Anthony Richardson, man, ends up becoming something, he ends up becoming what you want him to be, guys, you can always buy him back. Like, it's not like he's gone forever. Sure, you're going to pay a little bit more, but let me tell you, man, I'd rather pay an extra second or two once I know that he has some security than gamble with a first right now when I don't need to, especially like on a not competing team. Like, just let me get out, and if I need to buy back in, I can buy back in when I know that it's safe.
Exactly. I'll pay the starter A-Rich price. Correct. Versus paying 95% of that for the hopes that he can be the starter again. Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah. Very well said. And this is a very well put show, Gabe. This is a fun one. Again,
besides my plethora.
I was going to make like a hyperbole joke, but I didn't know how to really work that in. So I need to get to watching Mike Tyson and Jake Paul here, Gabe. But this is really fun. Where can people find you on X? And you got anything going on this weekend?
Oh, man. Couch potato this weekend. We've had a couple busy weekends the past couple of weeks. And so, man, just hanging out and watching some football, watching some college, watching some NFL. But yeah, you guys can find me on X at @igabe_FF. And again, in the Discord, hit me up. I know I've been answering a lot of trade questions, so I'm always happy to help with those. And so by all means, feel free to shoot them over.
Yes, sir. Yes, you can find me over there at TyDeclare44 on Discord, X, wherever you look on social media, really. This is a fun one. Like I said, we got trade deadlines coming up, so let's make those deals now. Hey, if you are not in there yet, ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code TRADES. Get into the All Conference Plus Discord tier. Get 50% off your first month. Get into the GOAT tier. Get the trending tool, the war tracker, everything you need to be on top of your fantasy football leagues. Use code TRADEGOATS. Get 50% off at the door. Underdog, ALLGAS. Get up to 1,000 in bonus cash at sign up with code ALLGAS at Underdog. If you found this show actionable, entertaining, you laughed a little bit, you fully disagreed with it, whatever, just please hit the subscribe, leave a comment, hit like, all we ask. Hope you have a great weekend ahead. I hope you win your fantasy football matchups. I hope if you acquired A-Rich or Josh Allen, whatever quarterback you got into in this quarterback carousel, that they pay off for you and that you have a great weekend ahead. We out of this thing. Peace.